In this video, you're going to learn how to graph a quadratic in factored form. Factored form looks like this, like how we factored quadratics before. So you're going to have parentheses with an x and a number in here, and an x and a number in here. Okay. So the first thing you can do is you can find the x-intercepts. So the x-intercepts, or the roots, or the solutions, are the easiest thing that you can find in factored form. So to do that, you're just going to set each parenthesis equal to 0. So you're going to set each parenthesis equal to 0. So over here, I would have x minus 5 equals 0, and I would also have x plus 1 equals 0. And then I would just solve a one-step problem to get x by itself by adding 5 to both sides. So one of my x-intercepts is a 5. And over here, the other x-intercept is a negative 1. Okay, so these are your two roots. So notice a shortcut is to just change the signs from in the parentheses if it's just x equals 1. So again, it was negative 5, so I made it a positive 5. And then it was a negative 1, or it's a positive 1, so it was a negative 1. So now you're going to graph those, and this is the x-axis, so you're going to graph them on the x-axis. So here would be negative 1, and then negative 5 would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you're going to find the x-intercepts, and you're going to graph them. Okay. The next thing is the axis of symmetry. And the axis of symmetry is going to be in the middle of those 2 points. So you can either kind of count backwards until your fingers meet, or you're going to add your two x's and divide by 2 to find the average. So you're going to add your first x and your second x and divide by 2. So what I would do is I would do 5 plus negative 1 over 2, because that'll find the middle point of those 2 points. 5 plus negative 1 is a 4 over 2, so a 2. So your equation of the axis of symmetry is x equals 2. So you're going to draw a dashed line. Here is where x is at 2, so draw a dashed line through x equals 2. Okay? So the third and last thing is you need a vertex, so you can connect that parabola with 3 things. Now, your vertex is going to be on this dotted line somewhere, but we need to figure that out. So the good thing is you already have the x part of your vertex, okay? Because the axis of symmetry is the x part. You just need to find the y part. And to do that, you substitute into the equation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in this x equals 2 everywhere I see an x up here. So I would have, so first off it's x minus 5, so you would do 2 minus 5, and then you would also plug in 2 right there. Okay? So again, I just put this x equals 2 right up here and right up here. So I had 2 minus 5 and then 2 plus 1. And then I'm going to solve that out. So 2 minus 5 is negative 3. Again, you could type this all in the calculator, or we can do it by hand. 2 plus 1 is 3. And then negative 3 times 3 is a negative 9. So that is the y part of your vertex. So again, once you find the axis of symmetry, you're going to plug in this number into your equation up here to find your y value of your vertex. So now I can graph negative 9 by going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So once you have your vertex and your 2 intercepts, then you can draw the graph of your parabola like such. Okay? So some things to notice. This parabola is opening up, and that's good because there was no negative term out front. So if there's a negative term out front, your parabola is going to open down. but in this case, it will open up. So again, you need to find the x-intercepts, which are the easiest thing to find. Add them and divide by 2 to find your axis of symmetry, and then lastly, plug that back into the equation. Okay, so let's try some more. So here is our problem, -2 parentheses x plus 1, and then x minus 3. So notice this -2 is going to tell me something. I know it's going to open down. So I know my parabola is going to do something like this, okay? But the first thing I need to do is find the x-intercepts. And so I'm going to ignore that -2 for now, so I only care what's in the parentheses. So I'll have x plus 1 equals 0 is one equation, and x minus 3 equals 0 is your other equation. So do the opposite to get x by itself, and I get -1, and then I'm going to add 3 to get 3. So again, the shortcut is you can just change the signs of the numbers in the parentheses. So -1 and 3 are my x-intercepts, so I'm going to plot those on the x-axis. So -1 and 3. Okay? The second thing is to find the axis of symmetry. And to do that, I need to find the middle of these 2 points. So again, you can do that by going in one, and seeing that it would be right here in the middle. Or I can mathematically doing it by add your 2 x's and divide by 2. So -1 plus 3 is a 2 over 2, which is a 1. So x equals 1 is your axis of symmetry. So here is where x value is a 1, and draw a dotted line. Okay? And then the third thing is to find your vertex. The good news is you already have the x coordinate because it is right there, but you need to plug in 1 into this equation up here to find your y value. So let me rewrite the equation so you can see what's happening. So this was our equation, and I'm going to put 1 in for those x's. And don't forget about that -2. So I'm going to do is substitute in this 1 everywhere I see an x. And so 1 plus 1 is a 2. And then 1 minus 3 is -2. And I'm going to bring down this -2. -2 times 2 is -4. And bring down that -2. -4 times -2 is going to be an 8. So once again, you could type this whole step right here into the calculator, or you can kind of do some mental math. But our output is 8, so the y part of our vertex is going to be an 8. So now I just need to graph 1, 8 on this dotted line. So I need to go up 8 to right here. And now I can connect my U shape. Okay. So notice my graph did open down, which seems good because that was negative on the outside. Okay, let's do one more and then you can practice. So on this one, I've got a -1/2 out front, which does tell me it's going to open down. So it's going to do this. But I need to find the x-intercepts first. And to do that, let me just do the shortcut right now and change the sign and change the sign. So -2 and a 6 are going to be my x-intercepts. So we're going to graph those. Okay. Now I need to find the axis of symmetry. I'm going to do that by finding the middle. So -2 plus 6 and divided by 2. So that would be a 4 over 2, which is 2. So x equals 2 is your axis of symmetry. So go to a 2 and draw a dotted line. And then lastly is your vertex. And remember, you already have the x point of the 2, and now you need to plug in to find the y. So I'm going to rewrite the equation down here so you guys can see what's happening. So I'm going to put 2 in place of the x's and drop everything down. So now I'm going to simplify what's in parentheses. So 2 plus 2 is a 4, and 2 minus 6 is negative 4, and bring down negative 1/2. 4 times negative 4 is negative 16. So a negative 1/2 times negative 16 is going to be a positive, and 16 divided by 2 is 8. So it should be a positive 8. So we're going to graph 2, 8 on our vertex, which is up here. And then once you have your vertex and your x-intercepts, you have a nice parabola shape. And notice that it is opening down because we had a negative out front. All right, so that is how you graph something in factored form. And now you can practice. Thanks for watching.